Hey guys, Funkymusic here, and this is my updated review of Warmane servers. I'm not going to be really reviewing the TBC or MOP realms, pretty much because they're dead. But it is kind of funny how the TBC realm just all of a sudden had 33,000 players on it, and now it's down to like 300 right now or some shit. Currently, as of today, I'm playing. Anyways. We'll get to that in a little bit later. I haven't played those realms much. I did play the TBC realm, just for those of you who are interested. I did play TBC at launch here on Warmane. Played it for a little bit, but now it seems like it's dead and a waste. We can get into all that stuff later in another video. But anyways, I played the MOP realm too before the Meltdown. And so anyways, this is going to be more about the Wrath realms. They're more populated realms. Obviously, I play Ice Crown. There's people out there, what about Lordaeron? If you want custom content, guys, and you want custom stuff, even though it's supposed to be the Warmane billed as the most Blizz-like thing in the world, sure, Lordaeron can be lumped in there as well, although the rates are different, obviously. So yeah, anyways, I'll be breaking this review down by going over the PvE, PvP, dungeons, the staff, scripting, and the community/population, giving ratings on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being bad and 5 being excellent. I would also like to say that before we start this review that I have played here for 8 years. I have seen a lot. Lots of things have changed, a lot has not, and so some of the stuff that I'm reviewing here is just over an 8-year review of how I look at things. People who have played here not so much as long as what I have haven't seen all the changes that I have, so it may be a little bit different in my rankings here, but I'm trying to stay more to what's happened in the past, I'd say 3 or 4 years here on Warmane, and go from there. So let's get right into it. PvE. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. The PvE in Warmane is solid these days. There are far more bosses working at endgame than ever before. ICC and RS are almost, if not fully functioning, to retail in most cases. There are no custom scripts here in Ice Crown, whereas Lordaeron has more custom content. The reason why I cannot give a solid 5 of 5, though, is because the breaks in the scripts still happen. Exploits still happen as well, although they are not as common as they once were in years past. Loot drops also seem to work randomly at times. For example, in RS or ICC, you may see 2 of the same item drop from a boss. This can be quite annoying at times, as some of the loot can be useless loot that no one needs. If you want more custom content, Lord has that for you. If you want more retail-like rating experience, Ice Crown has that. But people could argue the rates, Ice Crown's rates are 7x with XP. So that means 7, everything is cranked up to times 7. Minus, I believe they've changed that now with professions. I believe the professions are something else. They're not times 7. But yeah, so there is that as well to consider. I'm not going to get into a Ice Crown versus Lordaeron thing. I've already discussed that in previous videos. So just trying to get an overall feel for the PvE here on Warmane, and it's pretty good. PvP. I gave this 3 out of 5. Warmane's PvP scene is still broke and full of bugs, sadly. The hackers using things like PQR, while now somewhat detectable by anti-cheat system, really make PvP frustrating at times. Players generally have a lack of knowledge of how to earn fast XP by completing objectives in Battlegrounds, and tend to just turn everything into a huge fight-in-the-middle free-for-all. Arena play is alive and well in 2v2, and somewhat in 3v3, but completely dead in 5v5. The tournaments that used to be held almost all the time are held less and less these days. My big knock against the PvP, obviously, that I've already discussed, is the lack of knowledge that players show when it comes to doing Battlegrounds. It seems like everything turns into a big brawl, and objectives are generally just forgotten. And it really takes away from the PvP experience. It can draw it out, make it really hard to get easy experience or get the things that you're looking for. I wish there was a better way, but that, again, this might fall into the community part of the video, so we'll skip over that till we get to the community part. But right now, PvP 3 of 5. Dungeons. I gave dungeons a 2 of 5 on Warmane. Warmane Wrath Lich King dungeons suffer from a lot of issues. They are all able to be beaten, and the last boss can be killed, usually, but they tend to bug quite often and make them unplayable. A lot of bosses are not even scripted entirely right, and will only cast 1 to 2 spells, or even miss phase transitions that they are supposed to do. This has been an issue for years on Warmane that has never been corrected. So if you're looking for a good dungeon run here on Warmane, your best bet is to probably look somewhere else, because the scripting breaks a lot of the time. It also can make dungeons totally unplayable for time. Utgard Pinnacle, Scotty the Ruthless, some of the stuff that's broken in there still seems to be broken from time to time. Currently, I just did Braun in Halls of Stone, Halls of Lightning, whatever one he's in. I believe it's Halls of Stone. And he did not open the last door for us in that dungeon run. This is just today, just to show you how crazy this stuff is, how it's still ongoing. The dungeons need a lot of work. I've posted so many bug trackers about this months ago, and nothing has been done about it. It seems like dungeons are not a major concern on Warmane. So if you're looking for a good dungeon script, or you're looking to farm gear on dungeons, be prepared to run into a lot of buggy / ridiculous things that happen in the game. So dungeons, 2 of 5. Staff. I gave the staff a 2 out of 5. Now, people might say I'm being biased here, as I've had multiple run-ins with the staff for years, and know some of them. Trust me when I say that part of me wanted to give them a 0 out of 5, but I think 2 out of 5 is a good point, considering how much they have managed to fuck up throughout the years. They host pointless events that people hardly participate in, and haven't changed anything in the last 3 years when it comes to doing fun, interactive things with players. The tournaments for PvP used to be fun and competitive. Now they're just a joke and held less frequently. The PvE speedrun tournaments, all 2 of them that ever happened, were also a joke. And they still have not managed a way to make them fun, nor have they had hosted one in years. Want to pause here real quick, get off the script, just random rant here. They need to host a best of the best. I've been telling these guys for years, the Warmane staff for years, that look, I've been telling Malico, look, y'all need to host like a best of the best. I think that would be something fun, new. You got to find new ways, new innovative ways to bring the community together and to interact with them and do fun things. And then I just really haven't seen that compared to years prior. They handle their community as a toxic poison rather than a friendly family. This is very true. Forums are a complete and utter waste of time, as there are so many useless guides or fake guides made by even some of their own staff that are totally mislead the player base or give awful opinions that hurt players more so than help them. I'll tell you guys right now, straight up, honest, 1,000%, if you see anything written by Mercy talking about anything that has to do with anything, run out of the way from the thread. Doesn't know what the hell he, she, whatever the hell that thing, it doesn't know what the hell it's talking about. Any player worth their salt would just read it and just laugh their asses off. A good example of staff leading people down a wrong path. Just ridiculous. There's so many things on Warmane's forums that are just bad. For example, you always see stuff about multi-boxers. The 3 things people bitch about most: multi-boxers, paying to win, or too many, getting Shadowmourne, which pay to win does not exist. People only make that up because they suck at this game, so sorry. That's a discussion for another day. You can watch the video I have on that. The only good thing I can say about the staff is they have made raid scripts much better and finally fixed some of the broken arenas. The staff have constantly lied about things in-game, or just had terrible coordination for events, with some events not even being set up and ran properly with rules that existed prior to being thrown out at the last minute. Again, I can harken back to when I was doing the PvE tournament. We had all these rules set up that we weren't going to use anything but Ice Crown Citadel gear, no legendaries, so we were busy figuring out what we were going to do for that. At the last minute, that totally changed. We were allowed to use everything but legendaries. And I'm talking last minute. I'm talking the day that we logged in to do the tournament, like an hour beforehand to get things ready and get things set up. The rules changed. So they have a real piss-poor setup and how they want to do stuff, and it's just ridiculous. The policies that they have in place are enforced for some, and others get the red carpet treatment. Having been around the staff myself, I can say it's just a bunch of childish egos on steroids, with men pretending to be women and vice versa. Your best bet is to avoid them at all cost. So again, that's the staff, 2 of 5. Scripting. I gave scripting a 4 out of 5. Things on Warmane have improved a lot in the last 8 years when it comes to scripting, which is why they get a 4 of 5 for me and not a 3 of 5 as I had originally planned on putting in here. However, if I had to rate the last 3 years alone, I would say it's a 3 out of 5. Warmane takes forever to fix bugs and exploits on their most populated realms. They tend to fix more on the other realms that aren't very populated whatsoever. Certain weapons and spells have gone nearly a decade without being fixed. such as Shadow Meld or Trauma. But what they have done in the overall picture has improved. Fixing some of the glaring 5-man dungeon issues would go a long way in bumping this score up higher. As I've explained before, some of the bugs and issues in there, just you can't have a total overall scripting, good experience here. Like I said, I probably could have given them a 3 out of 5, but looking back at what they've done over the last 8 years, it's gone from about a 1 out of 5 to a 4 out of 5 when I'm looking at it that way. If I had to look at it just in the past 3 years alone, I'd give them a 3 out of 5, maybe even a 2 out of 5, just for the simple fact they have not fixed a lot of glaring issues with some of the spells and whatnot. So you could go 4 or 5 here, 3 of 5. I really had a hard time. I guess whatever way you want to frame the debate, if you want to look at it, if you want to look at it versus the last 8 years, and then versus the last 3 years. 3 years, the score is going to be lower. Over the last 8 years, the score is going to be much higher, considering that things were beyond fucking fucked up broke 8 years ago. Community/population, 3 out of 5. First, I want to say I love the private server community personally. It's a bunch of people who have made doing all what I have done fun, and it's been entertaining for sure. With all the cancer music in the streams throughout the years, all the fun interactions, all the people I've met, it's just been a great time, and I love the private server community. However, I believe that the community as a whole on Warmane is mostly clueless at this 10-year-old game. And how that is, I don't know. Some of it can be blamed on laziness or lack of clear information, but again, that mostly falls on the players. In my last review, I gave a higher rating on this one. However, I've had to face the realization that the community when it comes to playing the game is again mostly clueless. This comes from me spending time in the top guilds on the server and just seeing how they frame debates and want to talk about certain things in certain class. This class, or you sucked playing that, but that's the best that class can do. I'm playing the best. It's just that other healers or other DPS do better than me because they're playing on a better class that does more DPS. It's got nothing to do with if you put me and let's say for example me and 5 other Resto Druids on the server in a vacuum, I'm gonna win every single time because the other 4 are fucking morons because they just suck. Hey, we've done many reviews. We've gone over what's wrong with Resto Druids, how many times. Most Resto Druids in these top guilds just don't have a fucking clue what the hell they're doing. So I hate when people argue that debate. You sucked. We finished 4th in healing or some shit like that. When it's like, dude, you do realize I play like the worst healing class in the game. Like, stick me in a vacuum with 4 other druids, and I'll kick some ass. But people frame that, well, if you're not playing Disc Priest or if you're not playing Warrior, well, your DPS sucks if you're 15th on DPS or whatever. It's like, dude, like. You don't understand how classes work or what? And that's sad seeing that from the top guilds on Warmane. It really is. I thought that, the old days of Warmane, people understood that a lot better, and I think now they just look at DPS meters, and a lot of stuff is based off meters this, meters that, meters this, and it's beyond ridiculous. And these are people that I know, and I thought that I respected, understood the game, but then it comes out to find out that they're just complete and utter fucking morons like the rest of the server, for the most part. Gear score is used way too much. Players do not have a solid grasp on how to play the game for the most part, let alone how to spec, gem, enchant, keybind. They'd have zero raid awareness, and they seem to perpetuate this cycle of two new players, who, of course, believe them and what they say, and then carry on the tradition, which I think is why we see, the amount of just insane shit that we see today on Warmane. Again, this does not apply to everyone, but it does apply to the overwhelming majority of players in the 10-year-old game, which is sad when the information is readily available on the internet. As we all know, Warmane fakes numbers. This has been proven time and time again, and is really one of the reasons I could not give it a higher rating as well. While the servers are very populated, they are not populated to the point that the website would have you believe. Guys, please look that information for yourself. Anyone worth their salt knows that Warmane has been faking numbers for years. There's tons of videos out there. I could point you in the direction of 10 people to talk to who've literally been keeping an eye on all their shit and what they've been doing. You can look at how the TBC numbers like a year ago were at 4,000, and then like this year they dropped down, and like now they're at 300. Like, it's just, okay, where'd that drop just come in from? And then they want to say that, oh, opening up cross-faction PvP, brought back like 3,000 players to Lordaeron, bullshit. Like, it's just common knowledge stuff that they try to hide from the community, which is just ridiculous. So the overall score for Warmane, I gave him a 3 out of 5, or a 3.5 out of 5, excuse me. Warmane is the most populated server out there, without question. This helps them overlook a lot of the shortcomings the server has. And when I say the most populated, I mean the most populated that brings in players from all around the world. This isn't strictly a Russian server or something like that. This is a bunch of communities with a bunch of players. You got Europeans, Asians, you've got everywhere. U.S., South America, North America. You've got everyone playing on these realms. So that's why I say that's the most populated server out there, just not a certain server for a certain language for players. One of the reasons I played there so long was because all my friends were there and I had invested too much time and money to move on to a better quality server. While it's not complete trash like a lot of Reddit users will say, it's far from the best in terms of scripting, community, and staff. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I know I've been putting this off. I've been working a lot, a ton of overtime, 60. I haven't worked like every week's been like 50 to 60 hours at least since September. So this is like the first video I've been able to do since I announced my retirement, really. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think of Warmane. Let me know what you've seen improve since your time being here. Let me know what bugs, things you've run into. I always want to hear back from you guys. And let me know what you think of the video. And until then, y'all have a good one.